Alright, hello, I'm back here, and I thought that I would, give you guys some good practice molecules to identify functional groups on. So, we're going to look at some molecules here, and just use them as practice to kind of identify functional groups. I think it will really help. So the first one is going to be limonene. I'm guessing you can guess what limonene is or what it does from the name there. What limonene is just kind of that lemony smell, or it kind of can give off that lemony smell. That's why I'm drawing it in yellow here, sticking with the lemon theme. Alright, so here it is, limonene. And at this point I want you to pause the video and look at the molecule and figure out what kind of functional groups you can find, and then we'll go over it together. Alright, so I'm assuming you're back now and we can identify the functional groups here. So we have an alkene at these points there, because we have carbon-carbon double bonds. And that's really the only thing that we have here. We can't label a benzene ring in our middle ring structure here because there's not 3 double bonds to conjugate everything. And there's no other really noticeable functional groups. So that is limonene. Just has the alkene in it. Sorry, let me erase here so we can move on to the next one. Okay. Get rid of the pause because we don't need to do that yet. Need to find a more efficient way to erase these, but okay. So next, we have muscone. It's an E and a U. There we go. Alright, so muscone has a structure that looks kind of like this. It's a big, giant ring. And off of this one down here, we're going to have that and that. So now again I'd like you to pause and go over this molecule yourself and identify the functional groups. Alright, so now that you've paused and found the functional groups, I will show you that we have the ketone right there. We have a carbon there, double bond to the oxygen. And other than that, it's all just alkanes, which we don't have to identify. So there's muscone. Just gotta make my pen really big here to erase everything more quickly. Okay. Let's get the pen back to a manageable size. Alright, next we have nicotine. Nicotine. And this one's pretty fun. Well, not nicotine itself, but the shape of the molecule. There we go. Here, nitrogen, and CH3. Alright, so there's nicotine. Again, pause the video and identify the functional groups, and we'll go over in a minute. Okay. So, now that we're back, we can identify things. We have a tertiary amine here. And so really that's the only thing we can really identify. If we wanted to look ahead, we know that we have a pyridine group here, and that is this whole ring structure with the nitrogen in it. I guess in terms of what we know pyridine is not something that necessarily we have to know for class, but in terms of what we know, if we looked at this nitrogen, and we have a carbon here, and since this is double bond but it's only going to one entity, I guess in terms of what we know we could say that's secondary, but the more correct thing would be to do the pyridine or leave it alone. So there is that one. And please, I know I do make mistakes as well, so if you see that I am in an error, please comment below or let me know so that I can come back and make corrections if necessary. Alright, so the next one, let's look at ibuprofen. Ibuprofen. It's an N. Does not look like an N. N. There we are. Alright, so ibuprofen looks something like this. Oh, well, hold on. There we go. I have to make sharp lines, otherwise you will have no idea where the carbons are at. Alright. It's a benzene ring there. CH3. Oxygen. And H. So, now again, please pause and identify. And we'll go over it in a moment. Okay, so here we have quite a few things we can label. Well, not quite a few, but so we do have a benzene here, and if we look down here, we have our ketone there. We also have the alcohol next to it, so that's a carboxylic acid, right? Carboxylic acid. There. Alright, so let's get this erased and go on to the next one. And again, with functional groups, it just takes seeing it a lot and lots of practice with identifying them on molecules. So in addition to this practice, I would look on Google for examples of organic molecules, maybe ask your instructor if they have some, and just get lots of practice at identifying and recognizing these. See, next, let's look at vanillin. I bet you guys can guess what vanillin is. It's the vanilla smell, or a large component of vanilla. Alright, we have that. Oh. CH3 and so OH. There we go. Alright, so again, pause and identify this one. Alright, so now that you've had time to analyze this and identify the functional groups, on this one we have, again, a benzene ring here. We have an aldehyde. Come on, Silas. There we go. Up here. That's this whole group, because we have our carbonyl and our hydrogen. We have an ether here, because we have an oxygen sandwiched between two R groups. And we also have an alcohol. And what kind of alcohol is that? I guess, again with the double ones, it makes it weird, but we call it a secondary, because we have our one carbon connected to two others. So, there's that. Let's erase these guys. Dun, dun, dun. This app really needs a wipe page function. There we go. Alright. Manageable pen size again. Alright, next let's look at aspirin. Aspirin, alright. So, let's start right here. O. C3. Alright, so please pause again and identify this molecule. Okay, so if we look up here, we have, again, a carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid. We have a benzene ring. Benzene. And if we look here, we have our ketone, R group on one side, oxygen on the other that's sandwiched between two R groups itself, so we have an ester. So there are the functional groups on aspirin. So let's erase these again. I got one more for us to go over here. One last molecule here. Okay. Let's look at acetaminophen. No. Alright, so this guy, we have that off the side. It keeps rounding my my writing here. I wonder if that's a setting I can turn off. Makes any kind of ring structure I draw look terrible. Okay, so pause again and identify the functional groups on this one. Okay, alright, so now that we've identified those, or you've identified those, let's go over them. We have an alcohol group over here. We have our benzene again. There we go. It's not one to read here. Probably need to clean off my screen. And we also have amino there, but he's right next to a carbonyl. So this whole group here is an amide, or an amide. And let me just rewrite that because that was really bad. There's an arrow and an amide. Alright, so that's all the molecules that I have right now. Again, remember, just make note cards for the functional groups to recognize them, look up molecules and practice identifying them, and then check with other students or your professor to go over your work. And please, if you have any comment suggestions or topics you would like me to go over in other videos, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you.